So today, I want to talk to you guys about obviously the drum set and how to play the drum set in a jazz ensemble, because I think it's the hardest thing to play in the jazz ensemble. Not to mention the fact that most of the time when you're at school and you play in the school band, you get lessons on the drum, snare drum, mallet, percussion, anything like that. But then you have to go play in the jazz ensemble, and that's totally different for the most part. You know, that's one big challenge, because if your friend that plays trumpet goes to play trumpet at school, they take a trumpet lesson, and then they go to the jazz band and they play trumpet, right? That's easier because it's the same thing. Drum set's like a lot different than playing snare drum, I think. So that's one of the reasons why it's challenging. And I think another reason it's challenging is that the music that you're playing in a jazz ensemble is not always, hey guys, is not always stuff you're very familiar with, especially nowadays. You know, if this was 1940, it might be music that we were all listening to and playing and dealing with all the time. But it's 2000, what is it, 2014, right? So we're not really having this stuff in our ear all the time. It's not ideal. And I think that makes it challenging, right? So my hope today is that I can give you some ideas that you can use right away, like maybe even tonight in your concerts. Maybe not, maybe some stuff you have to think about for a little while. That'll hopefully help you get a better sense of how to help the other kids in your jazz band, right? How to make you feel more comfortable when you're playing in the ensemble, and how to make maybe some of your questions that you might have go away. So I've got a handout here. Maybe you guys can pass them around. Actually, there's two handouts. So make sure you get both the white and the blue. All right, can you help out with that, please? So the first thing that you probably notice is that I'm taking some time here to get everything set up. And that's really important. These are not my drums. How many of you guys are playing on your own drum set tonight at this concert? Two fortunate people, three fortunate people. But it's your school drum set, right? It's not like your own drum set, right? So when I go play anywhere, the last thing I want to have to do is bring my own drum set, because that would add way more work to my day, which, you know, let's face it, who wants to do extra work, right? So if I can say, hey, can I have a drum set that's already at your gig or at your school, that makes my job easier. But then I have to deal with this problem, that it's not the drum set that I'm familiar with. It's not the drum set that I'm comfortable with. So I have to make sure it's all set and ready to go. And if I'm going to play on a drum set, it should be comfortable. How many times, be honest with yourself, do you sit down at the drum set and just start playing? Does everybody like reset some things and move some things around? Hopefully. But a lot of times you don't have the opportunity to do that. A lot of times you get, like I just rehearsed for this little clinician concert that we're going to do later, and I had to just sit down and start playing, and it's not comfortable. I don't know what the drums are going to sound like. I don't know what they're going to feel like. I don't know where they're going to be located. They're usually in the same general area, but not exactly in the same exact place that I would want them. So the first thing you always should do, if it actually adjusts, is adjust things to the place that you can just leave them, that's cool. The place that you want them in, that you feel comfortable with them. Step number one. Now step number 1A is that you should know where things probably ought to go. And a lot of times, as I travel around different parts of the state and the country and watch young drummers play, I'm seeing setups that are pretty weird. I'm seeing setups that, if I had to guess, that kid or that drummer, whoever, adult, kid, whatever, is not comfortable with. And you're just kind of like, oh, it's fine, it'll work, I'll make it work, right? But you should be comfortable, because you can't do your best unless you're feeling comfortable, right? I like to make a lot of comparisons with sports, because I think when we think about sports in our culture, sports gets a lot of attention, right? I don't know about you guys, but at my school, there was the football team, and then at halftime there was the band. It wasn't the other way around, right? So in sports, you go and you get your, and I played sports, I played baseball and all kinds of stuff like that. You go get your special shoes, and you get them just right, and you get your special pads, and they're exactly the right size, and you get all this stuff custom fit, and nowadays it's even more customized, I guess. You get special socks for the basketball that have the stripes going up the back. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And everything's customized. And when we play the drums, we don't think about that a lot. We just say, like, okay, here's the drums. This is my blessing or curse, depending on where you are. And then this is what I have to deal with. Well, I don't really think that that's smart. I don't think that that's an equal sort of a setup. So, first thing, now I feel like I'm finally set up, right? No, maybe now I'm finally set up. Yeah, wait. Now. So take a look at the picture on the front of your packet. That's my drum set, one of my drum sets. And I'm about to play a musical. I'm about to play Seussical the Musical at SUNY Geneseo 2 weeks ago. And if you notice, the thing that I want to draw your attention to first and foremost is that everything, every instrument, and this is true right now, everything that I might have to play is within comfortable reach. Would you agree? I'm a pretty big guy, so what's comfortable for me might not be the same as what's comfortable for somebody like my friend Tyler here. Tyler might have a different idea of what's within reach than what I have. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that you can reach everything. So if I'm going to play on the hi-hat, I can reach it. If I'm going to play on this cymbal here, I don't have to overextend. I don't have to reach like this. I don't have to make any awkward motions. Everything is reachable within a pretty small radius. I don't have to do too much work, right? You're going to hear me say that a lot. I don't want to do extra work. It's hard enough to play this thing without doing extra work. So I can reach all the drums and any of the cymbals with a pretty easy motion. Think about the last time you played drums, whether it was today or before that. I bet you maybe there was something that wasn't within easy reach for you. And if there wasn't, maybe you should try to adjust it. All the stuff is adjustable. It's all easy to move. So that's the first thing I would do. All right? Look at my list here. Number 2 says, no move to any part of the instrument should be awkward. So even though it might look cool to play like a sweet fill and then have to like reach way over to crash the cymbal, it's really not very efficient, right? And if I'm going to play fast and I'm going to play impressive stuff, I need to be efficient because it's not smart to tire myself out. If you're playing 2 tunes, you might say like, oh, that's no big deal. What if I'm playing a 3-hour gig? I don't want to get tired after, half an hour. I got to be able to stay the course. So that's important. Reach, comfort, all that stuff. If possible, if you have the choice, and you're playing in a jazz ensemble, you want sticks and drum heads that are jazz appropriate, and cymbals. All right? I took these cymbals off. Now, am I saying that these cymbals are terrible? No, they're fine. But mine are specially suited. Like they're go back to the sports analogy. I have like these custom cymbals that are just what I want, my own personal sound. And if I play those, it's not customized. It's not my personal sound. Now I've got my personal sound here, right? If possible, you want a rug on the floor. Why? Because as soon as I start playing, that's going to happen. How many of you guys does that happen to at school? And you're like, oh, I wish that didn't happen. Okay, so next time it's garbage day, you're going to go on a little garbage picking run. And you go to the nicest neighborhood, and you see if anybody's throwing out their carpet scraps. And then just get a piece. It works really well. I got a really nice oriental rug one time. It was like really fancy. It was good. People throw stuff out. So go get yourself a piece of carpet, and then use that underneath your drum set. If you do that, it's not going to slide. You're not going to have to keep going like this all night long, trying to pull your hi-hat back and stuff. It's frustrating. Why do we care about this? Because I want to be able to do my job without having to worry about any extra variables. If I can control something, I want to take care of it. I don't want to leave anything up to chance, right? And that goes to my last point that I have there that I said at the beginning. If you're not comfortable, you can't really play well, right? Imagine if we went up to the concert tonight and we told all the saxophone players that they had to play on one leg. You know, you have to stand on one foot and play your concert. They wouldn't do a good job, would they? It would be harder. Or if I said to the trumpet players, like, okay, now play lefty. Put your left hand on the valves instead of the right hand. That would be horrible, right? But we do that as drummers all the time. We think, oh, it's okay. I can't really reach the tom-tom. No big deal. The cymbal's like not really what I want it to sound like, but it's okay. All right? Sometimes you have to make do with what you've got, but if you have the option, try to make things that you can customize. Try to make it so that you can be comfortable, feel good about what you're doing. Because even though it feels like your teacher's up there waiting forever for you, it's really not that bad. To say, hold on a second, adjust it, okay, that's better. I promise you, if we asked any of your teachers, they would say they'd rather have you be comfortable and sound your best and wait an extra second than get to the piece 15 seconds sooner. Don't you think that would be a logical assumption? It's okay, right? So take your time, make sure you're set up the way you want it to, and even if like somebody's, you know, you're one drummer in the band and your friend is the other drummer, well, you probably have different preferences, right? Because it doesn't look like anybody in this room is exactly the same size. It doesn't look like anybody in this room is exactly the same anything. We're all really different, right? So what's comfortable for me, 6'1", 300-pound, 30-year-old man, is probably different than what's comfortable for Tyler or for Megan or for anybody in here for that matter, right? So being comfortable is number one, all right? So can I play something for you guys? Now that I'm set up, I'll just play a little bit, improvise, so that you can get an idea for what the rest of the stuff we're going to talk about will make more sense if I play a little.